Now this is the bevel gear. You slide the bevel gear in just like that. You try not to move it. You try not to move it too much at this point. This is called the anti-reversal latch. What this does is after every fire, the spring right here is going to try to push the box back a little bit. So what this does is this actually clamps into these little notches on the bevel gear, like this. And this will actually stop the gearbox from returning. Now, the anti-reversal latch can be pretty tricky. First, you got to put this little spring in, and then you gotta kind of fumble around with it a little bit, get it in there, and then if it worked, the anti-reversal latch shouldn't pop out. Okay, so you need to take the bevel gear out, hold the anti-reversal latch, because it is a tricky little latch. So sometimes it doesn't really want to work out the way you want it to. You gotta figure. Okay, it's all set up again. Gotta muscle the spring in. Let's take a moment to hear from our sponsors. evike.com sponsors us here at the Airsoft Research Center. They're great. They are America's largest superstore for Airsoft. They have a field. They have tons of events. They have a very large selection of stuff for you to get. Go there for all of your Airsoft needs. Once again, they're at www.evike.com. Okay, I have the spring in. This is where you hold your breath. Shoot. Okay. You can also take the bearings. I'm going to knock all the bearings out. Take the bearings, put them on each gear, like so. Alright, so I have the gearbox, the second gearbox shell on, essentially. Okay, now comes the point in time where you're going to start wrestling with the trigger. Okay, this trigger spring is a pretty crafty little spring. Doesn't always want to behave like you want it to. And the trigger will actually tend to be one of the biggest things that'll hold you from getting your gearbox back together. Actually, looks like something else might be wrong. Hold on while I look. Okay. So you're gonna bring it back over. I'm gonna bring it back into the picture here so you guys can see. See, this little spring right here. This is the trigger spring. It's crafty. It never wants to behave the way you want it to behave. So you actually got to kind of force it up and over. I like to do it this way because if you do it any other way, there's no guarantee that the spring will actually stay while you're putting the rest of the gearbox back together. So you see, I just flipped it up so it hung right there, and you push it the rest of the way in. Bam, you're all good to go. So now you can see actually the way I did it, this bearing actually set itself. I don't have to worry about that bearing anymore. I'm going to take a small hex key like this, and now I'm going to start working everything. I'm going to start working all the components. The anti-reversal latch is a little devil. He certainly is. A lot of problems that can be had with assembling a gearbox stem from the anti-reversal latch. Okay, so there we go. It's in place, and it's just about closed. Seem to be having some problems with this trigger here. And there you have it. That is how you put the gearbox back together. Okay, I start up here, I do one, come down here, I do a second, come back up here, screw down a third, back over here. Oh, this one's a little tight. Screw this one down. Oops, one of the little guys came out. Come back over here. Do this one. Jump down here. Okay. Jump over here. Got it. Come down here. Done. And then come down here. And done. So, that is how you assemble and disassemble a gearbox. That's my little mini review on the M120 Matrix aim top gearbox. Okay, so, let me just give a little recap. It's the Matrix M120 from Aim and Top. It's got the M120 spring in it. It's very nice. It also has it's got low resistance wiring. It does need to be re-greased when you get it. There's just not enough grease. The gears are splendid. I didn't say this before, and I didn't say it in the last one, but I love the gears. These gears are excellent. These gears didn't have a single scratch on them when a Classic Army, everybody knows Classic Army, when a Classic Army pinion gear broke after just a few shots. It shoots at 417 feet per second with a Prometheus Type bore. It's black. It's very nice, very sleek. It has, I believe these are 7mm ball bearings. It is not a ported cylinder, which will actually, it gives you just a little bit more power. It has a high flow valve in the front, air nozzle, my apologies. The cylinder head is aluminum, which is great. It won't give way. It has a metal with bearing spring guide. The piston and the piston head are both red polycarbonate. The piston head, I didn't say this before, but the piston head has ball bearings on it. And overall, this is a great box. I really like it. It's made by, you can get it anywhere. You can get it at www.evike.com. Go over there and pick yourself one up if you're going for a high power application.